Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melissa Caprio.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. It's Wednesday. How are you guys doing? I hope everybody is doing really well. I'm super excited today because I have returning guest, Psychic Trance Channeler Gregory Possman on my show. And for those of you who've been listening to me for a while, first I want to say thank you. Thank you for listening to my show on a regular basis. It means a lot to me. Get messages from you guys that you enjoy my show and you like the guests that I have on. But you'll know if you have been listening to me for a while that Gregory is been coming on my show now for years. I don't even know how many years. I think since I've started here. So that's super cool. And I was just saying to him before we went on that it's been a while. It feels like time is moving so fast that he has been on my show. So I'm excited to talk to him today. And if you're new to my show, I just want to say welcome. I hope you keep coming back and you're going to really like today's show because not many people can do what Gregory does when he channels, and it's really, really cool. So stay tuned and you will see. But just so you know that anytime you want to listen to one of my shows and see who my guests are, you can go on your favorite podcasting platforms. You can go on Om Times Radio in the archives. Or you can go on postcardstotheuniverse.com under podcasts, and you'll always see a description of who is the guest and what the show is going to be. So do that, and if you like it, please keep coming back and let me know what you think, because like I said, I get messages from people all the time, and it really, really means the world to me. A little bit, I just want to say, I create photographs from manifesting postcards. My regulars know this. So if you want to know more about what a manifesting postcard is, how to create one, and where to send it, just go to postcardstotheuniverse.com. And I have a section that talks about how to create one. Send it to me. The address is on there. Let me know that you send it. They're really fun to make. Lots of people love doing them. You put down what you want to manifest in your life, and when it shows up, reach out to me and share your story if you feel so inclined to do so. So yeah, they're total fun to do. You tap right into the energy of like that childhood energy of creating before we got grown up and worried about, how we're going to do this and how we're going to handle that and how life is treating us. And you just get to experience that feeling again. Like coloring and pasting pictures and adding glitter, right? We all need to add more glitter to our lives. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me and I will walk you through it. Okay, I want to get to my guest right away because I love talking to him. And he is going to have Quan Yin. She is coming through today, which is going to be really cool. So I get to talk to her. But let me read you about Gregory for those who are hearing him for the first time. He is a reverend, and he began as a psychic trance channel in early 90s, and Gregory channels over 40 light beings, including Sananda, all the Archangels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, as well as the master teacher spirit, Quan Yin, who is coming today, Mother Mary, the 5 members of the Council of Shambhala, and so many others. He also channels the Pleiadians, the Sirians, and the Venusians, which is really interesting to talk to them. And today, like I said, he's going to be channeling Quan Yin, and she wants to step forward to guide us as humans regarding our different levels of stress and our sources of stress, which we can really use right now. And Gregory performs workshops throughout the world, and he offers recorded, channeled private sessions by phone. And if you want to hear a monthly channeled message for the month, you can go to his website, gregorypossman.com, and you can see, you could sign up for his newsletter too, and you'll get that in your mailbox. But if you want to see who showed up for whatever month it is, just check it out. And I'm going to spell his website for you because we're on radio. It's Gregory, Gregory Possman, Possman.com. Hi, Gregory. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Hi, Melissa. It's been a while.
It has been a while. And like I said, time is flying. We're almost in June. The year is almost half over. How did that happen? I don't know. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Maybe I should ask Quan Yin if time is actually moving faster when she steps forward, because it feels like that for me anyway. And I know other people have said the same thing. Do you think so, or is it different for
Well,
you?
as I was thinking about it just now, my thought was that technology and our little telephones and all the apps that
Mhm.
we can have in there are making things easier,
Yes.
faster until they don't work, and then they make things more frustrating. But when I think about what the way we used to do things, pulling out a map and figuring out how to get to Georgia or wherever we were headed,
Mhm.
and now we say something to our phone and it tells us exactly how long it'll take and how to get there and all that good stuff. I think it makes us believe that we have more time and therefore we stick more into our day. And not that I ever overcommit, not me, of course not. But I mean, some of us may. And of course, I'm jesting. I overcommit
Right.
all the time.
Me too.
And it feels that way. So we get to that point where I think we believe that things don't take as much time, and then we overcommit, and then things actually take a bit longer. And boy, if the technology doesn't quite cooperate, look out.
Oh, I know. I could get really mad really quick when something I've been using all of a sudden stops working, or if the internet goes out, right? How many of us get so annoyed when our internet, like, we lived without internet
We did.
basically for a long time.
We did.
And we could
Yeah.
manage. But the thing, and this is the other thing, and I'm going to start doing little short videos. I decided like 3 to 5 minutes, and I'm just going to start putting them out there talking about, like our well-being and stuff, and just how to manage, on a daily basis, like uplifting stuff like I like to talk about here, but short videos. And I'm just thinking about how easily and how exhausting it is that we can be reached like 24 hours a day. And then we feel like, you get reached out on social media, you get people sending you messages in your DM, you get emails. And if you have more than one email, like I do for the different things that I do, people message you, then there's the phone, then they can't get a hold of you, and then they text. It's like, oh, you always have, and you feel like you have to get back to everybody because you don't want to be rude, right? So then that's exhausting. It's just exhausting.
Well, I found a solution. There's a button on my phone that says off, and I hit that
That
every now and then I don't have to be in that mode. So,
I do too. I put my phone every morning on do not disturb for the first couple hours I wake up, because that's when I like to meditate and I like to work
mhm,
out. That's my
sure.
time for myself. But still, then I turn my phone back on and I'll see 15 text messages, like calls.
Right,
I'm like, oh
right.
my God, what do you people want? What's so important? Like there used
Exactly.
to, right? Like remember before, like you would come home from being out all day and you just hit your answering machine, and
Hmm.
how nice that would be. And you're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna call back Susie tomorrow maybe, or maybe on
Hmm.
Thursday or whatever." Now
Right.
it's like, "Oh god." Yeah, so we could use some help. Hey, that's perfect for, because we're gonna be talking about stress. See, that
Hmm.
stresses me out, so I could talk to Quan Yin about that. So
You can.
before we bring Quan Yin on, can you tell us a little bit, for those who are tuning in for the first time, who she is, and you've already gone. There's plenty of shows where Gregory's talked about his journey and how he started doing this. But just share a little bit about who Quan Yin is, and
Sure.
what she wants to talk about today.
So, Quan Yin calls herself a mastress, which is a
Mhm.
combination of the word master and mistress.
Mhm.
And I haven't heard anybody else call her that, but she
No,
calls
I
herself
haven't.
that. She says she is the goddess of forgiveness, compassion, and oh my gosh, how did I forget the last one? Mercy,
Mercy.
forgiveness,
Okay.
and compassion. Yeah, probably in that order. And she'll probably say that anyway. But anyway, she is purportedly, she's one of the few entities that I did any research on. I usually just take all this at face value, but I was curious about her, so I read a couple books. And she is a goddess in the Asian culture. And there, whichever country you read about from her, you'll read different stories. So who knows? But she was purportedly the daughter of a very famous emperor, and I think the story goes that she didn't want to be, or for some reason she was actually executed. That's not very pleasant. But anyway, that's one of the dramas that went on. So she has been human, according to a lot of legends and stories. And I've never asked her, and she's never gone into that very much. But you could ask her if you wanted to. And she's very loving, very compassionate, and just incredibly respectful. She always tells us that we are perfect and that we are uh, very loved, very loved. So that's probably
Mm,
some of what you'll hear. And
yeah.
that's probably enough for the time being.
Yeah. She's a beautiful spirit also. She's come through a lot on my
Mhm,
shows and actually in personal readings too. So she likes to share with me, which I appreciate because
mhm.
because a lot of times I always leave it up to spirit, and Gregory will ask spirit who wants to come through. I kind of like it that way instead of asking somebody specifically, and Quan Yin comes out a lot, and she's great to talk to. So I'm looking forward to speaking with her again. But before we do that, why don't you share with us what you're doing when you're in your body?
Okay. Well,
That's pretty exciting because I know you're doing workshops, you're traveling, and you're doing all that cool stuff. Share with us.
yeah, I have a Canadian girlfriend, and her name is Catherine Alon, and we are doing radical awakening sessions in places around the country, around North America, and sometimes in Denmark. We haven't done one on Zoom yet, but we're threatening to do that. We probably will. And I usually channel, and then Catherine does a meditation afterwards to take us into the present moment and to be present. Still doing webinars. Those are typically on Saturdays, and they're usually from 9 to 12. And anybody can join. They're incredibly expensive. They cost about $60. And
Mm,
then in August, I'll go back to Denmark, and I'll be doing a live workshop over there, and some channeled evenings and a lot of private sessions. In the meantime, in my spare time, I teach swimming, which is a lot of fun here at the local swimming pool, indoor rec center. And life is grand. I'm just so grateful for everything that I'm doing. I'm enjoying everything I'm doing, and would have never believed at this grand old age of 39 that I would be so busy. So that's my
well,
life. That's my life.
I love it. Are you still doing the weddings,
I still
or
do
did
the
you?
occasional wedding. I still do the occasional vow renewal, but I've cut back on that. I looked at the things that I had done the most of, and then I made a little bit of a choice about what I enjoyed the most. And I decided to do those weddings that I could. But in the process of all the traveling and everything else, I'm not here as much as I used to be. So I still go down to South Florida, see my kids and my grandkids. I go up to Canada to spend time with Catherine, or she comes down here. So I'm doing probably two, maybe three weddings a month, if that.
Yeah.
So,
That's good. Well, that's how I originally met Gregory. I found him through Spirit. I'm going to say now, uh,
hmm hmm
connected us because I wanted to look for somebody to do my parents' 50th wedding, renewing their vows on their 50th anniversary. And as soon as I talked to Gregory, I liked him right away. And then he started sharing this work that he does. So, there's no coincidences, Gregory. You know that,
none at
right? Like
all. None at
I
all.
was meant to find you so that we could connect, and it's been great. I'm so happy that you and Catherine are doing this and you're traveling, and it's very exciting. Listen, life is short. Do what you enjoy. right? I
Absolutely.
mean,
Absolutely. I'm very grateful for her presence in my life, and
I
it's a
know.
wonderful blessing.
It is. It is. All right, guys. So the way it works is Gregory steps aside. Quan Yin will come into his body, and then we're going to be speaking with her. And I'm going to let her share her messages. And I have some questions. And Quan Yin is a pro also. She knows we take a commercial break at the halftime mark, and she hangs around and we'll come back and just talk with her. So whenever you're ready, Gregory, unless you have something else you want to share before
Not
you
at
go.
all. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Thanks.
Greetings, perfect daughter. How be you upon this day?
Oh, thank you, Quan Yin. I'm so happy to talk with you again. And I said to Gregory that you come through a lot when I am with him, and it really means a lot to me. I appreciate it. So I wanted to say that first. So I just want to say thank you. But what I wanted to know is what message you have for us, because I've been informed that you want to talk to us about our humans, this level of stress that we're experiencing, especially right now.
The planet is experiencing a tremendous amount of separation amongst human beings. And that can be seen as political, can be seen as religious, can also be seen in the educational community, and it can be seen in the legal or political arena. So there is a great deal of stress that is created by separation. And rather than acceptance and empathy, the aspect of being able to look at another's situation through their eyes, so to speak, there is a kind of movement about hanging on to one's own position. And the spiritual community is not interested in that necessarily. And so, this division that is created on the planet is being, shall we say, capitalized or expressed or emphasized by much of the media, who finds this separation to be sensational. And whenever they can express it or find something that seems to be controversial, they are making as big a deal out of it as possible. And so there are so many messages that are coming at all of you based upon something you spoke about a few moments ago. You have these small devices called telephones, and you have so many forms of distribution of this kind of information that it is made available to you immediately. And so that creates three distinct issues. The first is, what are they telling me? The second issue is it true? And the third issue is, how is it going to affect me? How am I going to deal with this if it affects me? So, in effect, they are three, but in truth, they are four items. And so you are left with making choices, decisions. What is the greatest priority in my life? And example, one of the messenger, the man we call Ashid, whom you call Gregory, one of his goals is to spend more time in nature quietly. And so he goes kayaking whenever he is home on Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Yes, he takes his little device so that he can take some photographs, but he does not answer the phone typically when he is in the boat. And so each of you creates a kind of strategy, an activity Maybe it is yoga, maybe it is Tai Chi, maybe it is meditation, maybe it is prayer. Your spiritual practice is the savior to this constant harassment that many of you are experiencing. And before you began your program, you both discussed how quickly all of these different technologies can come into your world. And so maybe it is important at some point to stop the merry-go-round, not the one that you ride the horse on, but the one that your mind is creating for you. It is just spinning and spinning and spinning so fast. And that is a curse and a blessing. A blessing that your mind can process so much so quickly. A curse in that sometimes it gets stuck on something and you begin to wonder, is this going to affect, or is it just one more thing to allow my mind to forget? So you are constantly processing what to keep in and what to leave out. And that is a great challenge in your lives, a huge challenge.
Yes. So, with the technology, since we talked about it before and talking about it now, coming out so fast, and now AI is growing so quickly, artificial intelligence, how humans adjust? Because I feel you're overwhelmed and um, we're having a hard time processing the technology that's coming out so fast, and we may not always be using it in healthy and uplifting ways. So, how can we navigate that?
Stop. You simply stop. We channeled one of the monthly messages that he put on YouTube and his website. And in that meditation, we said, stop. Tell the mind to stop. Now we add another word to that process. And the other word is choose. Stop and choose. Because you see, not only is there so much the media is throwing at you, there are also many opportunities to grow and to expand. You have more webinars, more, what do you call them, workshops, more opportunities to listen to teachers. And you must process, choose, stop and choose what is valuable for you and what you can pass up. And if it comes back into your own process, in other words, you see it and you let it go, you pass it up, and you do not choose to take advantage of it. And then it comes back, and then it comes back again. Once it has come to you 3 times, sometimes you pay attention and say, okay, maybe this is something I can benefit from. And there is a second possibility. Maybe it is not something you benefit from, but perhaps those who are also attending benefit from your presence. And then
So,
there is, of course, another piece, but I don't want to do it. Your resistance. And then you have to ask, why and what am I resisting? And you know better than anyone that when you resist something, there is probably every reason in the world for you to do it, because you will move through whatever the resistance is. And once you have done so, wonderful gifts come your way. And that is a truth. A lesson, a gift, an opportunity, perhaps a connection. And recently, we did another one of those channelings, and we talked about opportunities. Seize the opportunities in your life. Do not let them pass by. And maybe you have to surrender or sacrifice something that is not so important. And so, perhaps we are talking about the opportunity cost of choosing one thing over another. You have to let go if you are going to choose to add something to your life. Otherwise, you find yourself in that chaos. And out of chaos, of course, comes order. And so your question is, how do I choose? You listen carefully to your intuition. You stop, you slow down, you listen to the message from your heart, not your mind, heart. And you go into that heart and you discover the truth.
Beautiful. And I have a follow up to that, but I am going to pause here, take our break now before I ask you my next question. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Conscious media for conscious minds. Om Times. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free, ascendinghearts.com.
Hi, I'm Melissa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on Om Times Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives. Welcome back. So I'm speaking with Gregory Possman, who is channeling Quan Yin. So Quan Yin, I was thinking during the break, just going further from what you were sharing with us about the information that is coming to us and the chaos, and listening to our intuition, and and looking for the opportunities. We're being told so many things at once, and many of it is untrue. Many of the news stories are lying, basically. They're giving us false information. And now, if you add AI, artificial intelligence, to it, you see images, you see videos, and they may be fabricated and they're not real. How can we um, distinguish what is real and what is false? And will that eventually change? Will that pendulum swing back to where people want to be authentic and we can share real and true information with each other?
Authenticity comes from your soul. Soul comes from your heart. So when you go into your own heart, you choose. You choose the truth, your truth. And by choosing your truth, you allow yourself to decide what to pay attention to and what to forget. Sometimes the man to whom we speak has conversations with his son, and his son tells him about something that he saw. And the man says, I know nothing about that. And the son feels like his father is living in a cave with his head buried in the floor. And the man then says to his son, how does that affect me? In my world, which is a world of joy and happiness, how does that affect me? If I worry about it, if I think about it, and heaven forbid I try to do something to change it. And then you ask, but what if everyone took that attitude and did nothing about anything? Well, your neighbor shows up at your door and says, I need to go to the hospital. I have cut my finger badly. You don't think about it. You jump in your car and you put them in after you have bandaged their finger, and you take them to the hospital. Now that affects your life because it affects your neighbor, and your neighbor is your family. Think about it. You don't think about whether to go. You don't say, oh, no, I cannot be involved. Thank you very much. I call 911 for you. Maybe in 15, 20 minutes they are here. No. You go into your heart, you make a decision, and you do the right thing. And that is life, doing the right thing. And then afterwards, your neighbor is grateful. And your neighbor says, whatever you need, I am here for you because you were here for me. That is life. That is not AI. That is not generated by some machine somewhere. And these machines, they are wonderful. They help you a great deal in your life. Funny, the man flew on the airport yesterday, and he went to drop his bag at the airport. And the woman said, put it on the machine on the belt. That's all you have to do. And he looked at her and he said that was too easy. Yes, it is easy. But taking the right choice, making the right decision, doesn't require thought. There is no choice. I go, and I go now. Not everything in life is so simple. Sometimes you have to think a little bit deeper. but you don't think, feel. This is something I have to do. And then your friends or your family say, but you don't have the money. You don't have the time. And you look in your heart and you say, I don't care. I have to do this. I know there is no choice. I have to go. I have to do this. Priorities become very clear when it comes to the heart.
Are we collectively, as a human species, moving there where more of us will be making those choices and living from our hearts?
Absolutely. And that is the part that is so deceiving, because it appears that fewer and fewer people are doing it. Separation is causing that. And yet, it is actually going the other direction because you have faith. Those of you who are listening to your spiritual soul, you are moving in the other direction. You know what to do. And all of these gadgets and technical devices make it easier. So again, a blessing and a curse just is a matter of choice. How many more applications am I going to put on my device? How many more sources am I going to listen to? Or am I going to listen to my own heart and do what my heart tells me to do?
Beautiful. I I want to know about our planet. I feel she is very stressed herself. And I've heard other thought leaders and spiritual speakers talking about how the planet is Mother Mother Earth is moving from 3D to a 5D dimension and is raising her own vibration as we are raising ours. And a lot of the chaos is because of the old systems falling away and the new systems coming, being downloaded to us. Is that true?
Think about how much less paper is being used on the planet. How many fewer trees are being cut down to be turned into pulp? On the other hand, one could argue that there is a great deal more electricity being generated and used. Yes, of course. But the planet has been around much longer than any of you have been around. And the planet knows inherently in its own intelligence what it can handle and what it cannot. So, there is every reason to treat the planet like it is your mother, with respect, with care, and with consciousness. At the same time, do not worry. The planet knows exactly what it can handle and what it cannot. And its depth of being is very, very secure. It is amusing to us that you call it a rock. At the same time, there is truth to that. It is a rock and it is very stable.
That's good to hear. That is very good to hear. So, what is it? Is the extreme weather patterns we're seeing, the extreme heat, the droughts, the fires, the floodings, the volcanoes, the earthquakes, the hurricanes, tornadoes? It seems to be all hitting us at once, which is stressful in and of itself.
Opportunity. Opportunity for humanity to connect. Opportunity for humanity to reach out to give, to donate, to help their family. And it may not be family. It may be people you do not know. It is an opportunity to reach into your heart and assist. And there is so much of that love and nurturing, so much of that opportunity available. And yes, it is stressful. And yes, it is sad when a number of people die. However, in some way, shape, or form, it is still perfect.
Yeah, I just got that very strongly when you were talking about how human beings seem to come together when there's a crisis.
It
We
does
seem
not
to be
matter what color they are. It does
nope,
not matter what gender they are. It does
doesn't.
not matter what they are wearing. If they need help, they need help.
It's
And you
true.
help them.
That is
Again,
true.
doing the right thing.
The right thing. It would be lovely if we could get together as a collective and do the right thing from the heart without the crisis and the chaos. That would be a wonderful thing to do.
Now you are describing the extraterrestrial races because they have been doing the right thing for centuries, much longer than you have as a race. And they have come together as a collective, and they do not take any action until they have established that it is for the highest and best good of all. And if it is not, it is not done.
Are some of those extraterrestrials walking on our planet as we speak to help
Many
us?
of them are. Yes, absolutely. They are called hybrids, and they have had extraterrestrial lifetimes. And the one through whom we are speaking is one of those. And you are one of those. Now the truth comes out. Your secret
Wow.
is already out there. So sorry to
Wow.
be the one who has given you away.
That's okay. So then I can say wholeheartedly that we're not necessarily aware of that consciously.
No, you are
Wow.
not all aware of it, but you are becoming aware of it. And there is a kind of acid test, and it is this. If you care too much about others, if you are always thinking about the higher good, and if you are giving yourself permission to care, you probably have extraterrestrial blood running through your veins. Probably. Does
Wow.
that mean that those are the only beings that care too much? No, of course not. There are others, of course, but there are many on your planet who have decided to come and contribute their gifts to help your planet and your race evolve. Many, many, many.
Amazing. That's very powerful. So I have to ask the people that are walking the planet that are doing very dark things, very hurtful things. What is their purpose on this planet? Is it to bring us lower? Is it to go to the dark side, or are they here to teach us? What's the point of that?
They are here to remind you that you and they are not so very different because in other lifetimes you did the same. And now you have come full force the other direction. And so they teach you forgiveness. they teach you connection. In your prisons, where your so-called felons exist, your criminals, the greatest medicine for them to heal is to forgive and to be forgiven. And that is the medicine of love, compassion, and caring.
Earth is a very complicated school, very difficult. Are other planets going through similar experiences or is it just unique rock
It
that
is
we are on?
unique. It is unique to the rock. It is unique here. And as many of the other masters have said, you have to be a master to be here. You didn't get here through accident. It was not a coincidence that you were born. You are a master who not only has a lot to give, you have a lot to learn. So those lessons that you have refused to learn in other experiences, those are the ones that are coming up for you here. And they are not easy. They are hard lessons. They are difficult. They are a great challenge. And yet, because of your mastery, you have the ability to be triumphant, to be victorious, and to move through them, to learn them, and to pay attention, and to grow. And that is what you are doing. You are growing, you are learning, you are expanding, not contracting, expanding. And you do that through love, not fear, through love. Oh, of course, your mind always throws the fear at you. This one is doing this, and that one is doing the other. This one is doing that. But what is happening in your own life? What are you experiencing in the realm, the circle of your own friends, your own family, your co-workers? What are you putting out there? And what then are you retrieving? Those are the questions to ask. It is like a puzzle. What do I do now? How do I do it? Why do I do it? Do it because I love? I do it because I'm afraid. Which is it? The man no longer has fear about his home. He had an old firearm in his home that was a family heirloom. He decided it was no longer needed, so he gave it away. Now, there is no longer a weapon in his home. But he doesn't need a weapon. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. If you live with love, you generate and receive. Some would say that is foolish advice. Maybe it is. But that is how we see it. That is our truth.
Is it true then that our souls chose to come into our bodies that we are currently inhabiting and having the experiences that we're having? That was a choice?
It was a choice. And it is much more complicated than you can imagine. Truth is simple. However, choosing which direction you will go, that is a bit more difficult. You choose
Oh, yeah.
carefully. Choose carefully. Think about the outcome of each choice you make. Very important.
Very important. So then, what can we do to help those who are really suffering, who are experiencing tremendous pain and fear right now? I know there's certain things we can do in our daily life. Shut off our phones. We can get into nature. We can meditate. We can listen to uplifting music to calm our mind. But there's so many people we see around us that are just suffering terribly. What can we do to help them?
Remind them to stop. Remind them to slow down and remind them to choose carefully. Remind them to choose the path that is healthiest for them rather than the one that is going to harm them. When you are no longer under this pressure that stress causes you, then it is easier to choose what is good for you. Much easier. But you have to have the awareness, the consciousness, the state of mind to say, wait a minute, why am I creating this stress in my life? In other words, you take responsibility. You cannot be a victim. You are a volunteer. And so you decide, I am going to say no instead of yes to so much. I am going to limit the amount of stress, activity, and I am going to choose those things that help me: the yoga, the Tai Chi, the exercise, the walk in nature, the ride on the kayak, the boat down the river, whatever it is. I am going to take that time for myself and do what I know is good for me. And then I will turn off the phone. I will turn off the computer. I will go inside and I will make a good choice. Very powerful.
Very powerful. That line is very powerful. You you are not a victim. You are a volunteer. I may use that. That's very good.
You
Um,
have
un-
every right to use it.
Thank you. I feel like that's beautiful, and unfortunately, many people aren't going to get that in this lifetime. But that's okay, right? If they
It
don't.
is okay because it is their choice. You're not responsible for them making the right choice. The only responsibility you have, perhaps, is to offer them the choice, make them aware that they can choose. And if they choose poorly, not your fault. Man loves the saying, not my circus, not my monkey. In the past, he made everything his circus, everything his monkey. Not anymore. No, they choose. They choose what to be responsible for and how and what to create in their life, not you.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to leave us with before you leave today? Give Gregory back his body.
The Archangel Michael recently ended a transmission by saying, eat more chocolate. Enjoy it, but bless it before you eat it. Bless the chocolate before you eat it. That is all. We are most grateful. Thank you. And much love to you for all of the gifts that you and your listeners offer to everyone you encounter. Do not sell yourself short. Recognize the good that you are doing and congratulate yourself for it. That is not ego, that is self love.
Much for being with me today. Thank you.
Gratitude for the opportunity. So be it. Welcome back.
Welcome back. That's the coolest thing ever. That is just the coolest thing ever. I don't know if you heard the last bit where she said that Archangel Michael said, eat the chocolate. And I was just thinking, oh God, that's what I do every single day. I eat the chocolate.
Well, maybe it has something to the amount of chocolate that we eat. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't eat 3 bars. Maybe you only eat 1.
No.
I don't know.
One little piece of dark chocolate a day, but it's so good. And I do bless it because I say, oh, I love you, chocolate. So thank you so much, Gregory. This was
My
great.
pleasure. Thank you,
As
Melissa.
usual. Love it, love it, love it. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. And I'm wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. Peace.